I had some help. People need help, and this is an opportunity for you maybe to get helped. Because, as I said, Siobhan Kehoe, who is Medical Director of the Fertility Treatment Centre, joins me now in the studio for her very first ever time to have a chat with what she does, how she does it, and how she came to be doing it too. Siobhan qualified as a registered midwife in 1995, as a registered general nurse in 1991. She's worked as a midwife in Ireland, England and Australia, worked in a Dublin fertility clinic, in the antenatal clinic and early pregnancy unit in a Dublin hospital, and also is registered with the Irish Nurses and Midwifery Organisation, the Irish Register of Chinese Herbal Medicine, and there's a long list. I'm worn out already, Siobhan. How are you, anyway?
Hi, Alan. First of all, thanks very much for inviting me to talk on this show, and and I hope I can help someone out there that's listening to help themselves. My work is all about helping people feel empowered and to tune in with themselves, and the answers are all within us, and to help ourselves,
Well, I'm going to talk a little later on about the people you do work with and how you do that, but let's talk about the journey that brought you to this point in time right now. First of all, where are you from? Where did it start off?
Right. I guess it's been a journey, I started off when I was younger, not sure when I was doing my Leaving Cert, not sure what I wanted to do. There was no course that I felt really fitted me, but I was also interested in people's health and who we are and what drives us. And anyway, to make a long story short, I ended up deciding to do nursing and, to try and understand more about the body and health and body intelligence, and did nursing up in James's Hospital up in Dublin, which was great. And then I decided to look deeper, and I went to England. I chose to go to England to do midwifery, and which I loved. I really loved being a midwife and working with the babies, and I had great colleagues and great friends. And I still, however, felt, I needed to understand the health of the body deeper. I would say passionately curious is my drive. It drives me. I'm still driven by it to see what's under all these symptoms, what's under all these health issues, and with the fertility issues that I was seeing. So then I ended up taking 2 years off to travel the world, really. So back in 95 and 96, I travelled the world for 2 years looking for answers, as well as a holiday. And first of all, I went to Indonesia and I did a lot of meditation. And I realised we can tap into this energy within us, that there's much more to us than the physical body. We have this energy we can tap into. We have this wisdom within us. And this awoke me a little bit on how the answers are within us, and if we can listen to ourselves. So I did that, and I thought that was very interesting. And then I ended up trying different therapies. When I was in Africa, I stayed with healers in Africa, which was very interesting. And I was kind of thinking, how can we think it's only Western medicine? There's much more. My eyes were wide open. And actually, when I was in Africa, and I haven't really shared this much, but the healers there saw something in me, actually, and they gave me this red and white belt of the healer. And they said, there's something in you, and to protect yourself. And maybe there was something trying to unlock within me from an early age. And then I went on to Australia, and at that time I was having a lot of my own health issues, menstrual issues, which were very challenging for me. And nothing like your own self, as anyone listening to this might know. When you go through your own challenge, it helps you understand deeper, and probably helps you more to have more empathy and compassion for someone else also. So I had these issues, and I ended up having acupuncture and herbs. with the Chinese medicine practitioner in Australia, and this really helped me. So much so, I looked more into Chinese medicine and what's it about, and then I ended up actually studying Chinese medicine for 5 years. It's the oldest medicine in the world. It's at least 4,000, some say 5,000 years old. And it helped me understand more about the mind and body and how it's all intertwined and how we are linked with nature. We are part of nature and there is no difference. And so this was a big, again, it helped me understand more about who we are. And in Chinese medicine, they look much deeper, whereas in Western medicine you could be sent to one consultant for your period issues, one maybe if you had a heart issue, one for stress issues, whereas in Chinese medicine all those could be under the same category and linked with the same organ. So it helped me understand more how the body and mind is all one and how to simplify it more, how to simplify symptoms that people have.
I believe you ended up working even in 3 Chinese hospitals. What was that like?
Yeah. That was very interesting. Back in 2001, Alan, I decided to go to China, and I worked in 3 hospitals out in China. It was actually really interesting. I learned how Western and Chinese medicine can work well together. For instance, if someone over there had a stroke, they would be admitted to the Western hospital first. And for anyone listen to this or who knows anyone in their family that has had a stroke, I think we all nearly know somebody. So over there, they would be admitted to the Western hospital. They do the CAT scan. They do all the tests to see, what had caused the stroke. Was it a bleed in the brain? What had caused it? Check the blood pressure, check all the bloods. And then once that diagnosis had been achieved, then usually within 24 hours they'd get the acupuncturist on board. And so we learned to do acupuncture on so just say if someone ended up with right-sided weakness, they would see this was a problem which is recognised in Western medicine too, with a problem on the left side of the brain. So then the plan was to help someone to get their strength back into their limbs. So I learned to use a machine to stimulate needles, so that I wasn't just putting needles in, so you'd see the person's arm or their leg moving, and so you get the strength back in. Also, I learned to do, and this might sound scary, but it genuinely wasn't, I learned to do head acupuncture, brain acupuncture, so that we learned
Right.
So we learned where the sensory, the balance, the motor area is on the brain, for instance, and just with tiny little needles, literally like nearly just slightly bigger than your hair, to stimulate these parts of the brain, and how you could do that from the outside. And it was very, very interesting.
I must point out, you are a qualified acupuncturist, right?
Yeah. No, I'm a qualified. I was doing acupuncture for, I think it was over 20 years anyway, Alan, yeah. So it helped me understand more about the energy and how energy moves in the body and how it's all connected, yeah.
Well, I'm just talking about your itinerary around the world and dealing with the various locations that you came across and working in Chinese hospitals. In all that, how did you overcome any language barriers?
Well, over there, they were organised for people like myself coming, so I did learn a tiny bit of Chinese, but they also had interpreters and they also had doctors that spoke English. So, so it was organised that I'd be in hospitals where either the doctors spoke English or where there was an interpreter. And also over there, it was very interesting with HERD. So, for instance, I myself actually went to a gynecologist, Chinese doctor over there, and for my own residual menstrual issues then, and I got a prescription, and over there you go to their pharmacy, which is very interesting, and you don't have to speak Chinese, so you literally hand the prescription in, and it's quite incredible. They have this massive pharmacy, all these herbs, and you're given, which I thought was brilliant. And this is the big difference. I was given an individual prescription for me, you know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. That there could have been...
Not just 50, a standard thing off the shelf.
Not a standard thing. So, for instance, 50 women could have had period issues or menstrual issues, and we were all given a unique prescription for us. And that's what I was really drawn to, that I was treated as an individual, and I wanted to treat someone else that I was seeing coming to me as an individual.
I think it's something that people in the Western world forget, isn't it? That like a lot of the medicines, if you do go into a pharmacy in Wexford or anywhere in Ireland, and you're getting a prescription, those medicines that are coming off the shelf have their origins often in folklore and in herbs. That a couple of hundred years ago, it was the local sort of, I won't say a witch, but the woman who knew all the herbs. And a lot of they have their origins in those.
Yeah. That's right. A lot of these medicines are coming from herbs anyways. So my thing was, well, you know, instead of studying pharmacy or drugs, that I needed to go to the origin and study herbs. And it was quite an intensive course. You know, it was 3 years, and you should see the big books that I have. I was studying all the pharmacology of every individual herb. You know, there is actually a lot to it. It's very interesting, and it's just trying, and even for instance, some of the herbs today, like for anyone listening, even turmeric, you know, is a very good natural anti-inflammatory. Garlic is very good for the digestive system. It's very warming. And, you know, so there's lots of different herbs. People are now starting to introduce more herbs, I think, into their cooking, which is great, and have herb gardens. And maybe we're going back to that way a little bit more, yeah.
Do they have to be fresh or dried? Does it matter?
Well, the herbs that I use are dried herbs. Is the only way that we can do them. But I use rather than powdered form, I tend to encourage people to use the raw herbs that they boil up. So I get people individual prescription. It comes from England, actually. It's the best company I can access. They're just plants. There's nothing else used. And they're all rigidly checked, which they have to be, and everyone gets an individual prescription then for them that they can boil up. Yeah.
Right, we're going to take a short break. I'm with Siobhan Kehoe, who is Medical Director of the Fertility Treatment Centre, and we're going to explore more of that in just a moment.
The Saturday Show with Alan Maguire.
It's 26 minutes now to 1 o'clock, and you are listening to The Saturday Show. My guest today in the studio is Siobhan Kehoe. We're going to talk about fertility and fertility treatment in just a moment. But if you have a question for Siobhan, now this is our first session, so pretty early days, but 087 3737 956 is how you get in touch by text or WhatsApp. And Siobhan, you know, we talked a lot about your medical experience, registered midwife, you're a nurse, general nurse, working in Chinese hospitals, acupuncturist, herbalist, and so much more besides. But you also come from a farming background, I believe, in County Wexford.
Yeah, and I think that my dad's listening in, actually. Hi, Daddy. I'm from farming background, and even though I've done all this study, I think 10 or 12 years in Western and Chinese medicine and more beyond, I would say nature is my biggest teacher. And so for instance, if we're going to grow crops, you know, we need the soil right, we need the seed healthy, we need the temperature right, and this is what I recognise with the human body too. Or I look at animal breeding, you know, that there's no mistakes made there. So I bring a big aspect of this in. So with people I'm treating with fertility, I focus on, are the body fluids healthy? Is, for instance, with any women listening to this, I focus on, is the period healthy? Yeah. It's like with a farmer, you plough the field, you harrow the field, you get it right first. The main physiological symptom I'm seeing with women is actually clots in the period. So if the period's clotty, it's not a good environment for growth.
Yeah.
Do you know, so my thing is, and unfortunately, no one has ever come to me in 30 years and said that their doctor has ever mentioned this as being an issue, which blows my mind, while of course I do respect Western medicine too. But it's all on laparoscopy or doing diagnostic tests, but not actually focusing on, just the basics. What's the period like? What's the egg white, the semen, body fluids? So my work is back to basics, get the temperature right. If a woman, for example, is having night sweats or very cold, again, if there's frost, the seed doesn't grow, or if there's intense heat, the seed doesn't grow. So my thing is, we need everything at its optimum to imitate nature. We are nature to help with fertility. Yeah, Alan.
Well, I have a question for you already from Dolores. And Dolores is in her 60s. And now I know we're going to talk about fertility, but you just don't confine yourself to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
She wonders, do you work with someone who has severe anxiety and digestive problems? And she's also wondering where you're located. Now, because I've referred to the Fertility Treatment Centre, so where are you located? Where do you do most of your work?
Yeah, well, at the moment, and since COVID, all my work has gone online. I never thought I'd work in this way. I'm a bit of a technophobe, if I'm honest, but I am a people's person. Working in this way, I am more focused. When I was in work, I always had a centre where I'd at least 2 to 3 rooms, more like 3 rooms going at a time, and it was very busy. So now I'm more focused. I do work in a different way now, and if I'm honest, I'm seeing much quicker results. So, Dolores, for yourself, if you're listening, for me, and I myself have had anxiety and digestive issues. So, as I say, nothing to like learning from yourself. For me, anxiety is just the name Western medicine gives to a symptom of your heart acting up. Your heart there's something in your heart that's looking for recognition, and so this is a big part of my work. Obviously, I see it with fertility clients too, that my work is all around going into the anxiety, going into the pain, acknowledging it, transforming it, and it's what's under that anxiety. What does your heart need to be heard? And it's also with your gut. And, that saying, listen to your gut or you get a gut feeling. I ended up celiac many years ago, I believe, because I didn't listen to my gut. So my work would be around, helping you to listen to your gut, what's under your gut. Now, also, I've done a lot of study in nutrition, but my main thing is, what's the subconscious thought pattern? Why, my work is helping people trust their body intelligence. Your body has the answers, Dolores, for you. Everyone, we all have the answers within us. So if your body is acting up, my work is around, which maybe I need to explain in a little while how I do this, is getting you to listen to your body intelligence. There is a reason why there's something under that's being carried, that's looking for transformation, from my point of view. So yes, I genuinely believe I can definitely help you, because I see this day in, day out, anxiety and digestive issues. Yeah.
So through COVID, you had to change your way of working, and in a way it's been a change for the better then, because it means that your treatment centre is available to anybody, in any corner of the world. The consultation takes place online. Is that how it works?
So it's all online now, which is great. So so I see people from all over Ireland and even Europe and internationally, which is great, and it also keeps me more focused. So instead of seeing people in different rooms, I'm just focused on one person at that time. And also, and I've never said this on the radio, but in the last 4 years, I've learned to work with this deep sensation that I get down my body with the truth. So I do tend to push people a little bit to try and see where this block is, what's blocking them, and when someone says a truth, I'll get this deep shiver sensation down my body. It's never been wrong. I'm not going to mess with it. Yeah. Now, maybe it's within us all. When you hear that saying, that shiver down my back. So I've learned to work with that, and I learned to work. Is it a deep truth? Is it a massive shiver? Is it something that's looking for more recognition? And so that's become it's again trusting my own body intelligence and helping someone else, and to understand probably that we're all one, that I can tune into someone else, and everyone has always acknowledged it's 100% right, you know, that this actually, that makes complete sense to me, you know, that you got the shiver sensation for that, yeah.
Right. Now, I know people listening in at the moment are saying, what a load of gobbledygook and what a load of nonsense, and Alan, why are you doing this? But can I say to people that are listening, I've spoken to people who know you personally and are absolutely adamant that what you do is very powerful and that you have been very helpful to them in their lives. So I have it on, Direct Authority. Also, you have on your website, you have doctors, for example, who you've worked with their fertility problems, and amongst others, and they are full of praise for what you do. So let's look at how you do that then. Now, the one thing I will say, I've invited questions from people, and one of the questions that's going to crop up is how much. We can't do that. There are guidelines with regards to what I can and can't ask you on air, and when we get into things like money, they say no. But I have to say, your consultation, which might take 60 to 75 minutes, that first consultation now, it's not exactly cheap, but then in relation to actually the 10 minutes you might spend with your local doctor, it still comes out at, it works out at the same price.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm genuinely not about money. The money that I get is going into set up online courses, to set up things, that I can help people on a deeper, bigger level. And
well, you have to make a living.
Yeah, and typically, the way you have to be careful on what you. I don't promise anyone anything, but I tend to see people with the more complicated cases. For instance, and I just asked permission from this lady last night if I can share her journey. Well, I share a little bit about that. So this is just someone that came to mind, I thought, when I'm on the radio today, maybe to give an example. There's a couple that came to me very, very recently, and she's 42. They were trying for 8 years, and they tried everything. And on paper, very complicated stuff. Now, most people I see are very scientific, and they had all the bloods. She had endometriosis, she had autoimmune issues, she had blocked fallopian tubes. She had this, which I don't really believe in. She had what's called low AMH, which is, Western medicine would say it's your egg reserve. If someone has a level below 7 point something, they are told it's low AMH. Hers was 0.2, and so it was off the Richter scale. And tragically, they, with the IVF that they had 4 transfers. 1 transfer worked, but their baby through the IVF was incompatible with life. This was before they came to me, so it was really devastating. My heart was really in it to support them. And a wonderful couple, worked very hard. They're what I'd call, for any of my clients listening, they would know me calling this term the golden child. Someone in the family carrying a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure. Her husband, he ran a very successful business, had a lot of staff, very busy. For me, it's like the analogy of the top racehorse. Top of its game is the hardest one to get into foal till you take the edge off it. So I could see what I'd call their vibration. That edge was, it was off balance. So I just did, I think it's 3 sessions with them on helping them to connect more within, using my own unique ways to help balance them. And they got pregnant naturally against all odds. And she texted me. I texted her last night. She's now 7.5 weeks pregnant, and so far everything is going great. So on paper, they could, they tried all the Western medicine routes, and really they would have been told donor egg. That. So yes, so my thing is, I do tend to go over time with people. I shouldn't say that, but my heart is in it, and I put a lot into these consultations.
But when you say you help them and get them balanced, I mean, what do you make them do? Do they have to change lifestyle? Do they have to change diet? Do they have to change the way they work?
Well, a big part of my work is bringing awareness. So, one of my lines is, and this comes from Chinese medicine, our mind is in our blood and our blood is in our body fluids, yeah? So if anyone listens to that, so our mind is in our blood and our blood is in our body fluids. So for them, we could see that their stressed mind was causing stressed blood and stressed body fluids, which was inflammation. And the gentleman involved, he was diagnosed with this intracranial hypertension and, had a lot of serious medical issues, and she had medical issues. So I was trying to bring this pressure down. And so how I do this, I've developed my own unique way of helping people connect to their energy within them. And the word energy might sound airy-fairy. We're made up of energy. We're made up of atoms. We're made up of energy. And so it's helping them to tap into their energy. I don't know how much time I have to go over it all.
We are rapidly running out of time on this session, or our first session together, actually. Yeah. So maybe we'll hold off on that story for a moment, because there's one vital question I want to ask you just before we do finish up, because we are going to explore more in the future about the way this works and how couples have been successful with you. And I know you've had consultations from as far away as Sweden, I believe, as well. In recent years, the government, through the HSE, have come up with funding to help people with fertility problems, and often that funding means that they can work with private clinics such as yourself. Is that possible in this country? Can people access funding to help towards perhaps working with you, or it's just are they sticking purely with IVF and so forth?
At the moment, it's more with the IVF, now, but saying that, and I really support anyone, like I genuinely do. So, if anyone is not working or unemployed or for whatever reason, I'll always support anyone. I will never see anyone stuck. My heart is in it to support it. If anyone's listening out there, never let the energy of money hold you back. You know what I mean? If I can help in any way, I'm here to help someone. Yeah.
Well, I've found our chat fascinating, and if anybody wants more information, I know they can check you out by Googling or whatever platform they use, Siobhan Kehoe Fertility, and it'll bring you up, and it's Kehoe. And I'm looking forward to our next chat when we go deeper into how you achieve what you do. And
thanks, Alan.
I'm looking forward to it very much indeed.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, and thanks for asking me on to help. And I hope for anyone listening there, that it's been informative. And and when I come back on again, I'll talk more, and maybe even a client or two. Maybe if it suits you, Alan, might come on and explain of how I've helped them. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Siobhan, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks very much, Alan. Thank you.